The Dallas Mavericks, they had an absolute impeccable season last year, making it all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Of course, losing to the Warriors, but nonetheless, it was a good just run for them, period. Also, just completely dominating the Phoenix Suns on the road was just a huge accomplishment. Luka is really magic. I mean, this kid is just, it's unbelievable how good he is so quickly in this league. And yes, they did lose Jalen Brunson, but personally, I don't think that that's going to be a huge loss. Because yes, he had a great 10-game run or whatever it was, but outside of that, who knows if he's going to be able to replicate that? The New York Knicks took a real risk by signing him and paying him all that money. And I'm actually kind of glad that Dallas didn't, because Dallas probably would have. If he didn't go to the Knicks, Dallas probably would have given him the money that he wanted. And I just think that that would have been potentially, again, who knows how good he's going to be with the Knicks, but I think potentially that could have been not the best move in the world. I think that that could have been a disaster for the Dallas Mavericks to have him. I mean, we've seen guys like Chandler Parsons have an incredible run, and he was out of the league before his contract even finished. And yeah, a lot of that was to injuries, but even before the injuries, he never was able to replicate that lightning in a bottle that he had one time. But can Dallas get back to the Western Conference Finals and maybe an NBA Finals? Now, if I'm being honest, I think it was just a great run. I think Jalen Brunson just had this monumental just career moment. I think all things just kind of clicked for Dallas. And I think the matchups and stuff like that all went into play. I think a lot of teams got better. And I don't know if Dallas is going to be good enough this year to get back to the Western Conference Finals as well as winning a championship. Now, I wouldn't be shocked, right? I mean, Luka's Luka, right? And they do have really good young guys. You're going to get, Christian Wood. That was a great acquisition. You got a guy that could give you 2010. He had a great season last year. I think this is a very undervalued signing. I think this is a high risk or low risk, high reward type of play. I think he's going to be very good for this Dallas team. It gives Luka another threat, another option. He's a little questionable on the defensive end, but nonetheless, he's a guy that can knock down the three ball, spread the floor. He can shoot pretty much anywhere. Great rebounder, great scorer. I think that this is going to be a great pickup for the Dallas Mavericks. But does it move the needle that much? Let's say they were a legit Western Conference Finals team. You would think Christian Wood makes them a legit contending team, right? They just added an 18-9 guy, right? So wouldn't that be the case? And he fits perfectly, right? Because he could spread the floor. He could run in the Dallas's offense beautifully, seamlessly. Not going to be much of adjustments. Although I will say there has been a lot of locker room issues with Christian Wood. He even got suspended for a handful of games, stuff like that, just for the whole detriment to the team, things like that. But Houston at that time was an absolute shambles. So was it just hey, I just don't want to be here type thing? Or was it, will he be able on an organization like Dallas where it has structure? You have a guy like Luka, you have a coach like Kidd, you have, culture, stuff like that. You're going to have a defined role, all of those things. Is that something that can change that? Also, is Christian Wood going to get the same amount of touches, right? Because Luka had the highest usage rate in the league last season. So he's going to touch the ball a lot. He's going to score a lot. He's going to take a lot of shots. Got a lot of shooting around. They're all going to take a lot of shots. So is Christian Wood still going to be able to have the same production is another, I think, real question. Although I do think he can. I think he's capable of it. But I definitely think Christian Wood makes them better. I really do. I think it makes them a much better team. But question is how much better? I don't think that this is something hugely impactful. I think, he will equate to games won that maybe they wouldn't have won otherwise. So I definitely think it's a net positive, but I don't think it's this huge jump. But to continue that on, JaVale McGee, right? JaVale McGee, solid center. He's a guy that high energy. He knows his role. He knows how to fit in. He knows what he's been on championship teams, all of those things. He's a guy that I think, again, another very undervalued signing. He has a relationship with Kidd. I think that's going to go a long way. I think he's going to fit in perfectly. He's going to know his role. He's going to rebound. He's going to block shots. He's going to, get a bunch of lobs from Luka, stuff like that. Again, I think he's another guy that slightly moves the needle. Not a huge impact guy, but I do think he's enough to really move the needle. I'm actually surprised Dallas was able to get him, but nonetheless, again, great acquisition. So now you basically round out your team, right? JaVale is your starting center. Christian Wood is your starting power forward. You have, Luka running the point, basically. And then luckily, you got Tim Hardaway Jr. back. Tim Hardaway Jr., he should be good to go. He should be healthy again. And then outside of that, you have several options, right? You could run Spencer Dinwiddie and have him play in that sort of Jalen Brunson role. Tim Hardaway Jr., if he can kind of get back into stride, I think he could be a huge factor for this team. Josh Green, you have guys on this team that I think you can kind of interchange. Dorian Finney-Smith, right? That's another name that comes to mind. Reggie Bullock, great shooter. So they have these guys. They have the stretch bigs. They have all of the guys that they need around Luka. And I guess you could call it their three guys. I wouldn't really call it a big three. Although you can make an argument Luka's good enough for two guys. So maybe. But I think JaVale McGee and Christian Wood are the perfect complements for a player like Luka and this team. You got a bunch of great shooting around these guys. I think they're going to be very solid. But I feel they're really hot and cold at times. You see it when they're lights out, you're just not beating this team. They are in many times just die by the three. And I'm hoping that Christian Wood gives them more elements down low, right? It gives them more just options other than, Luka ISO and then drive and kick to a three, and hopefully guys are knocking down shots tonight, right? I hope that that's the case. I wouldn't mind seeing the Dallas Mavericks go and make a move. Dallas has inquired about, Miles Turner. Miles Turner would be great, but I think I don't think you really need him. I think JaVale kind of gives you what you need in small doses, and then you got your stretch bigs. You still have Powell. You have guys that I think you're fine in that position. Obviously, Miles Turner is an upgrade to JaVale McGee, so obviously it would be a nice move. But I don't think that that's something, if they could go get, if they could have gotten a Jeremy Grant, I think that would have been perfect. Obviously, they're not going to be able to, but I'm saying a player along those lines, somebody like that. If they could have went and traded for a Jeremy Grant, I think that would have been a perfect complement. Big wing that could play the three, could play the four, guard the Kawhi Leonards, the Paul Georges, although Luka seems to eat those guys alive. But nonetheless, it would be nice to have that big 3-and-D style wing. I think with that, Christian Wood, JaVale McGee, Tim Hardaway Jr. and Luka, I think you'd have one of the best starting fives in the league that could compete night in and night out. Not saying that this team can't currently construct it, but I feel like I'm curious. I want to see what the offensive schemes are. I want to see what does Christian Wood bring to this team. Are they able to kind of run more offenses? And look, Luka is incredible, but I'd like to see a little more playmaking. I'd like to see a little more creativity. I'd like to see, a little more play sets rather than just, like I said, Luka ISO, Luka driving kick, swinging the ball around, trying to knock down threes. I think also if you're running proper play sets and stuff, that'll open the floor more for these guys, get these guys more open looks, stuff like that. And Luka doesn't always have to create. They're so Luka dependent, which is fine. I mean, he's such an incredible talent. But I think they have enough on this team to where Luka doesn't have to be a guy that literally every single play has to be the guy that creates and does something. I'd like to see them kind of put guys in sets, put guys in position, when Luka isn't on the court, running, efficient plays, stuff like that. I have a lot of optimism for this team. I think this team could be very good. I don't know, do you think they're better than the Clippers? Do you think they're better than the Warriors? I don't. So then right there, let's say that's third best team. I think the Suns completely implode this season, so I think they're better than the Suns. But are they better than Denver? I think that that's questionable. I think you could make the argument that they're not. I think you could also make the argument that they are. And then just in general, like I think they're with like the Grizzlies in that vicinity. I think there's about at least 2 teams better than them, maybe 3. So I think they're definitely a top 5 team in the West, in my opinion. And I mean, even last year they finished 4th. And so I just like, even let's say Dallas finishes 1 in the West, right? I still don't think that means that they're the best team in the West. Like the Suns finished 1 and looked like they were impossible to beat, and then Dallas came in and just smacked them. But I think the Clippers and the Warriors I would put ahead of them definitely. And then I think they're in that Grizzly healthy Nuggets spot. I think they're better than the Timberwolves. I think they're better than the Pelicans. They're better than the Lakers. Although I do like how the Lakers match up against them. I do think that they, at least from what we've seen, and there's a lot of questions with the Lakers in general, but I do think that this team is in the 4 to 5 range as far as like the pecking order for a team going to the NBA Finals. But Luka is Luka. That dude is an absolute monster. And just this team, I really like this team. I think this team is structured very well. I think this team can make a lot of noise, and I think this team will be very good. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, so I want to hear from you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comment section below. What do you think of the Dallas Mavericks this season? Do you think, yes, they're going to replicate, they're going to go back to the Western Conference Finals, this time they're going to make it to the NBA Finals? Do you think, no, they could still use a little more? What are your thoughts on this team? Do you agree that you'd like to see a little less of Luka creating and maybe some more play sets, some more schemes, especially with a guy like Christian Wood that can basically knock it down anywhere on the floor as a big, that kind of thing? Is that something that you would be interested in, or do you think like, nah, it's Luka, you keep the ball in Luka's hands? It's just, again, I would like to, even as great as LeBron was his whole career, there were even times where, like in Miami and stuff, where he played off the ball, or he played within sets, he played within schemes, stuff like that. And Luka's good enough where he can. I'm not saying you have completely take the ball out of Luka's hands, play in and play out, but it'd be nice to have a couple stretches where you could just open up your offense a little more and not be as predictable, is my thing, and not wear down Luka so much throughout the regular season and the playoffs. But anyway, again, good, bad, ugly, however you feel, whatever you think. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Let me know down in the comments. Quick little shameless plug, everyone. If you enjoy my videos and commentary here on this channel, As It Stands Lakers, then check out the link down in the description below and go subscribe to As It Stands. Believe it or not, As It Stands was the first channel. If it wasn't for that channel, this channel would never have existed. Because of the success of that channel, it led me to want to create this Lakers channel. So do me a huge solid. If you're not subscribed over there, go check that out. Go subscribe over there. I talk all things sports, all teams, things like that, not just the Lakers. So if you just enjoy my commentary and want to hear me talk about other things, or you just, are a fan of other sports and other teams, go check that out. I promise you will not be disappointed. That being said, hit that like button. Helps me out a lot. Lets me know you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button, followed by the bell notification. Stay up to date with all things sports. Join this wonderful community and all of our discussions. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.